So let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 18th, 2019. Qs are going to close up 1.45%, SPY up 1%, and I saw that the IWM up as well. So we do have bullishness across the board here. Coming into today, we did have a neutral bias until we take out the high of the day from yesterday. If we take out the high of the day from yesterday, then we are bullish. And we ended up gapping above it, far above it. And so that put us on a bullish course. And you can see that's exactly where the market is, looking higher. Now, if you recall here, right, even when we were bearish for a day, essentially, we were watching this hourly, looking to see if it wanted to break down. And then once the was unable to break down, we shed the bearish bias. So we were bearish for about a day here and then didn't want to follow through. And if you recall on this day, when the market was looking like this, right, and the same was true for the rest of the days, the long term remained bullish, right? We looked at the weekly and we said weekly did a pullback, looking higher, weekly in an uptrend, monthly in an uptrend. Usually when you run into that scenario where you have a short-term pattern that is in conflict with the larger time frame, the larger time frame usually wins out. Okay? So just keep that in mind, right? There are definitely reasons why that's the case, right? You can consider the amount of money that the monthly or weekly chart is going to represent versus the hourly, right? The larger time frame, the more time that is spent in putting in the pattern is the more likely one to follow through. Especially if you're a day trader and you know, like 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute charts, you see them, you know that those patterns fail all the time. And especially if we're talking about, let's say, for example, on the snap, right? Even though there are times here where this maybe 2 minute looks like it wants to go lower, and this 2 minute, right, again wanted to pull back here. We know that the larger time frame, say the 5 or the 15, want higher. We know that the daily was doing a gap and want to go higher. So usually when you get those kind of time frame conflicts, usually the larger time frame will win out. Okay, that's also why let's say this JBHT today, which bullied the gap, right? And gap bullies we know are very impactful scenarios because the gap down got bought. Anybody who was short saw their profits disappear very, very quickly. And longs that got shaken out say, well, now I have to get back in. But I don't like the gap bullies that go against the trend, right? Because you're going to be running into resistance, less likely to follow through, more likely that the downtrend will be too much of a resistance, right, to get in the way. So when we look at this weekly and we see that the JBHT is in a weekly, okay, I'm going to pass on the pullback. Now, if you recall last week, look at the difference between the BFB weekly, right? We played the BFB when it was doing the gap bully. I'll show you the daily gap bully here, right here. So gap down, powered through. Didn't even care about that resistance. Kept going, closed at the highs. Right there. We played it on this day, right? So I much prefer these gap bullies when they're in the direction of the longer time frame trend because they're much more likely to follow through well, right? You can see didn't even just follow through on the day that we played it, followed through for the next few days as well. Okay, so when we run into that issue, that's why we go over the market bias, right? Long-term and short-term, especially when there's a conflict. The larger time frame is more likely to follow through, right? So now that we've gotten what we got today, the bullishness is across all time frames, so pullbacks should be buyable. Okay, sell-offs will be buyable until we essentially break this base, this support here, right? This was just really just a pause that refreshed and is continuing. Okay, so all out bullish into tomorrow. That doesn't mean that today is necessarily a good entry opportunity. Just we're going to be waiting for the retracement, see what it looks like. But overall bias is bullish on the long term and the short term for the Qs and the SPY. Okay. All right, so we've covered that. Now, there was only one official trade today. That was the SNAP. Sammy had a call on it as a breakout over the highs here. Okay, breakout over the highs. I think they took half somewhere in here and then held the rest, held some all the way until 1490. We got a question today from someone new, and I did see quite a few new people because we are currently running a promotion for a 1 month promotion that is probably the best of the promotions that we run, is from a kind of percentage discount. And so I know people are taking advantage of it. There is a link in the description for you to check it out. But one of the new people, I think today was his first day, asked, I played the SNAP, and I saw some people mention other symbols. Is this, am I doing the right thing? Was the SNAP the only thing that I was supposed to do? Because I think they saw, SPWR was mentioned. This was not called official as a long as well. BA was given as a pullback. MGI was given as a short at the open. But this was the only one that was given as an official play, meaning we will manage it for you. And it was great to see that, people who were new were able to pick up on this right away because it was given as an official idea and it was managed for you. So even if all you end up doing is just the official plays, you don't kind of use the other ideas for idea generation for doing your own plays, that's enough. I mean, to play the SNAP, I think the final exit was 1490. And then the entry was over 1442 with a stop at 1425, right? That's 3 R's or more than 3 R's on that final piece. That's about 3 R's on that final piece. I mean, do you really need that much more, each day? And that's not even this SNAP is a kind of a one-off occurrence, right? This is pretty consistent. Remember we just did the PB yesterday. Right, the PB yesterday, right? We entered around 64.20. Where did this close? Closed at 62.55. Now, admittedly, I didn't catch a full $1.90 per share, right? But that's kind of what we're doing on a daily basis. And of course, if these other plays fit your methodology, right, this will help you pick up on these. And this is kind of what we were talking about yesterday too, that people care. We're looking for these plays that are going to close at the highs. They're going to put in nice trends, right? So that, you don't have to worry about, did I miss my 2-3 cent target? And now I'm looking at a loser just because I blinked, right? We're looking for big moves and continuous trends, right? So if you played the SNAP today, maybe give me a comment there. Let me know what your best exit was on the SNAP. Like I said, took some out around 70, and then the rest came out around 90, pretty near the highs, but I'm sure there are people out there exited even better. Maybe you didn't take some early on. You took the whole thing at 85. You got an even better average than we did, right? So let me know if you played the SNAP today, where you exited. I know some people maybe were just looking for one quick move. They got in at 42 and exited at 60. Nothing wrong with that if that was your target. So you tell me, if you played the snap, what your best exit was, how your management fared on that. But this was the only official play today. So, and that's really kind of all you need. And of course, there were other things to do, other things that we were aware of, but I don't really need much more than that. All right, so yesterday talked about the importance of scanning, the importance of looking at the right ideas, looking at the high odds plays, the plays with potential to move, right? So, a little bit of a continuation of that, a little bit more discussion about management as well, right? So you let me know, how did you do on the snap today? And if you're curious about the room, check out the link in the description. There's a promotion going on for a limited time for a 1 month subscription, which, if you played this snap, and you probably already paid for that subscription many times over. So check it out if you're interested. And we'll see what the market brings us tomorrow. We're all out bullish. Just need to see some kind of entry here now on the Qs, as they've already had a nice gap and run up. So bullish overall. That means sell-offs are buyable, okay? And unless we break this base, which would be a pretty big move in the market for that to happen, but until then, we will remain bullish. All right? So have a great evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.